Chamber members and guests. My name is Pam Bales. I'm the President and CEO of the West Metro Chamber of Commerce. We're grateful that you've joined us today for our state election forum. Before we get started, I'd like to take a moment to thank the elected officials and dignitaries that have joined us today. We appreciate all of you and the time that you put into serving Jefferson County. I'd also like to thank the West Metro Chamber Government Affairs Committee who helped make this possible. We are going to have all of the candidates put their information in the chat box so that if you have questions afterwards, you can contact them. We will also have this recording up on our chamber website for at least 2 weeks, so you'll be able to go back and look at it if you miss someone as well. So we would like to talk to you a little bit about some PPE grants that are in place. Jefferson County is letting people with businesses and nonprofits under 25 people receive free PPE. All you have to do is go to their website, you apply for it, you get it, and then you can pick it up at the closest chamber. So that is awesome. If you are one of those people, business or nonprofit, please apply. And then we also do have the Women's Summit coming up. And this is one of our big events, Tuesday, November 10th. It will be partially in person for only 50 people at this point. I'm really hoping it gets to be more than that. And then we will have an online option as well. This is a wonderful event for women and men, but mostly women. So you can see that and all of our virtual programs that are online and in-person options at our website, westmetrochamber.org. So we are thrilled. Oh, I would like to thank my sponsors too. Thank you. There's my slide that make this all possible. We appreciate our sponsors so much at the West Metro Chamber of Commerce. So with that, we are thrilled to be able to highlight 5 House districts that cover Jefferson County. We appreciate the opportunity to provide a space for our business and community leaders to hear more about the candidates who commit their time, passion, and talent to running for office. And we appreciate your continued tech grace if there are issues as we work through today's program. I'll just put that out ahead of time. As a friendly reminder, we value civility and kindness. We recognize that there may be points when you are not in agreement with something that is said, but we ask that you do not use the chat box to share that. We do hope to see positivity and kindness streaming across the chat box today. This morning, we will be meeting the candidates running for House Districts 22, 23, 24, 25, and 28. It's a lot to pack in, but here's how we'll run the program. We've broken it into 3 sections to keep a solid flow of information going. Each candidate will receive 2-minute opening statements followed by 2 questions each. They will answer the same questions in the same district. Then they will receive, that'll be 1 minute each. Then there'll be a fun fire round where you'll get to know the candidates a little bit more personally. And then finally, candidates will have 60 seconds to make closing remarks. You will notice a timer on the screen to help the candidates stay within the time parameters. So we are going to start with District 22 for opening remarks. And so Representative Larson, if you can unmute, we're going to start with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey everyone, thank you for having me. I took a brief look at the participants list and it looks like a lot of friendly or familiar faces. My name is Colin Larson. I am the current representative for House District 22, the Republican representing South Jefferson County. I'm also a small business owner, started Atlas Coffees, which is a independent coffee shop down near Chatfield High School. There's actually now a second location as well. So, and former West Metro Chamber member. You know, I'm no longer involved with my coffee shop, but, you know, still very much sympathetic to the small business cause. And very happy that you guys are putting on this forum, to be frank with you, especially given everything going on with COVID-19. Small businesses have just been totally left behind, and it's frankly been a very jarring 2 years to see the total lack of understanding at how businesses are run, the understanding of impacts on regulation, additional tax burden, and all that sort of stuff that we deal with on a daily basis, but unfortunately many of my colleagues have never done. So it's been a great opportunity to be a voice for small business. I've really enjoyed my work down there, passed a number of bipartisan bills. Probably, I think it's certainly the most in the Jefferson County delegation. But yeah, and look forward to continuing serving. So My contact information is in the chat box. My email is probably the best way to get a hold of me, but you can always check out my website as well, which is www.colinforcolorado.com. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Representative Larson. And okay, you did great on the timer, and that didn't get up there quick enough. So we're very excited. Thank you for doing that. And we're going to move on to Mary Parker, also running for House District 22.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Yes, I am the Democratic candidate for House District 22, which is South Jefferson County. I have 4 daughters, 2 of whom are teachers in Jeffco Public Schools, and I have 6 grandchildren, 4 of whom are or were students in Jeffco Public Schools. I have extensive business background as well, both in the corporate world and in small business. For 20 years, I was a systems engineer for Hewlett Packard in their business computing division. And in 1996, my husband and I started a human resources consulting business. So that was tough to get off the ground, finding the clients. It took a long time starting up, but now it's a business that has been able to withstand the COVID pandemic. So I'm grateful for that. Also, I have experience starting and running a family restaurant in Evergreen, Maya's. And so I know the challenges you have with staffing, meeting payroll, filing taxes, dealing with landlords, and equipment failures. For the last 13 years, I've worked as a court-appointed special advocate for neglected and abused children in Jefferson County. I have learned the challenges, the trauma, the insecurity many students and children feel, and also the families that are struggling with addiction, abuse, and mental health issues. I also learned a lot about the legal system in Jefferson County and also the social services aspect of that. So I feel that my extensive personal and business experience makes me well suited to represent the citizens of HD 22. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mary. We appreciate that. And now we'll hear from Margot Herzl.
Hi, I am Margot Herzl, your Libertarian candidate from Colorado House District 22. Libertarianism is about liberty. It's about your freedom to choose your own path at all times, in all things. Libertarians believe that the pursuit of happiness is best served when people are free to be the architects of their own destinies. A lot of people think that makes libertarians anti-government, but in fact, what libertarians want is a government that is the right size. As James Madison said in Federalist 51, if men were angels, no government would be necessary. And I would like to add to that that if men were demons, no government would be sufficient. So the purpose with government is that it is powerful enough to protect your rights while leaving you free to answer the better angels of your nature, and is not so powerful that it can violate your rights. So the tendency of government is to become more authoritarian over time. And that is exactly why our founders decided on a constitutional framework that would work against that tendency. We need politicians who are clear-eyed about the problems that government has and who will work to keep our government within its constitutional constraints rather than fighting to break down those constitutions. And I am such a person. I am a staunch defender of liberty, and that is why I believe that I'm the best possible representative from our district. And I hope you will give me a vote. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Margot. I appreciate that. Now we're going to move on to House District 23, and we're going to start with Representative Chris Kennedy.
Good morning, everyone. Good to see you virtually today. My name is Chris Kennedy, and it's my honor to represent House District 23, covering the northern half of Lakewood and other parts of central Jeffco. These last 4 years, it's been such an honor to represent this district and get to try to solve problems down at the state. You see, my background before getting into politics was I worked as a structural engineer and got to solve certain kinds of problems and try to make sure buildings stood up when the wind blows and when the snow is falling on the roof. But I switched gears into politics because I was really passionate about solving other kinds of problems, like issues with our healthcare system, our education system, and getting ahead of climate change, which is going to be a growing concern for our country. I am really proud of what we've done. I probably spent more time than on any other topic on the high cost of healthcare. I really believe that the Affordable Care Act was a huge step forward for access, and it was absolutely the right thing to do to make sure insurance companies could no longer discriminate against people with pre-existing conditions. And one of the things that was left undone by the Affordable Care Act was driving the cost conversation forward. And so I'm proud of the work I've done to increase the transparency of our hospital costs, to establish a reinsurance program in Colorado to stabilize the individual market and prevent cost shifts onto small group and large group markets, and to prevent the outrageous practice of surprise out-of-network billing. I'm very proud of this work, and yet it's only the first step on what we need to do to make sure everyone can afford high-quality healthcare in this country and this state. These last 6 months or 8 months or so have been a different turn. We've all had to focus on the crisis of the moment, and I'm proud of how Colorado has responded to this pandemic. And I'm very proud of the work that we've done to expand services to help people and small businesses who are struggling in this time. So as we get into next year, that's going to be the priority, and I clearly timed this poorly, so I'm out.
But thank you, Representative Kennedy, for being out when it was time. We appreciate that. And now we're going to hear from candidate running for House District 23, Fred Clifford. Fred?
Hi, my name is Fred Clifford. It's great to be here today. I'm running for three basic reasons, and everything else falls into those three things, I think. The first reason is liberty. It's the idea that you can run your life far better than the government can run it for you. There's really no comparison. And the second reason is very similar, but it's worded a little bit differently. I have a really strong aversion to special interest favoritism. I think if you have civil liberties and economic freedom, you don't really have special interest favoritism imposed by the governments. And the third reason is a little bit more difficult to explain, but it's the fact that I'm not special, because it's not about me, it's about ideas. I think of myself as an ordinary people, and I think people I meet kind of say the same thing. I think that we should have ordinary people in the legislature who adhere to the great ideas that made our country great. So, and the other thing, I don't feel superior to the constituents. I think ordinary people are more capable of listening. So those are the three reasons. Like I said, everything else kind of falls into those three things. I believe I put my contact information in the chat, but all the contact information is on the website, which is fredclifford.com. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Fred, very much. We appreciate it. Now we're going to go to House District 24, and we're going to start with Representative Duran.
Good morning. This is your Democratic representative for House District 24, Monica Duran. And I just want to say thank you, West Metro Chamber, for hosting this event and giving us an opportunity to kind of connect with all of you today. I'm excited to be running for re-election. What I want to mention too is that often through the overwhelming noise through the media, that our state legislature has been overwhelmingly effective. When you stop to think that, let me just quote this number here, 98.5% of third reading votes were bipartisan, and 67% had bipartisan support or prime sponsors on a bill. Which, what that says to me and should say to all of you is that working together to pass laws has really made a big difference for the state of Colorado. A few examples. One is we had bipartisan support when we passed our comprehensive COVID package, which was extremely important, obviously, during the pandemic. The other one was Senate Bill 217, which was enhanced law enforcement integrity bill. So for me, part of being a good leader is trying to find that bipartisan support where you can bring people together who maybe look at things through a different lens, but the most important thing is you bring all those different views together to create good legislation for Colorado families and for our workers. So I am thrilled to have been the representative for the last 2 years in House District 24. Look forward to continuing to be your representative as we move forward and working together to represent the state as we should. So thank you. I can't see the timer, so I don't know where I'm at.
You did great. You have 7 seconds to spare. Thank you, Representative Duran. We appreciate it. And now we're going to hear from candidate for House District 24, Laurel Imer.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Laurel Imer, and I'm your Republican nominee for House District 24. And I thank you for allowing myself to be here and everybody else to give just a moment to speak to everybody today. I'm running for such a time as this. I am an average person. I'm a mom. I'm a homeschool mom. I work part-time at a small local business, which unfortunately in its 6th year is now a victim of a COVID business death. Our closing date will be 2 weeks, September 17th. We unfortunately, small business, woman, veteran owned, were too small to qualify for any of the COVID relief. No PPP came our way. And we were considered still an essential business, required to be open every single day, and we cannot maintain the overhead. So unfortunately, when we're talking about small business, I understand what everybody in this community and in the state and in the nation is going through. It's a very difficult time. And I believe that we need to reopen the economy. The Chamber of Commerce is a very important entity, but the reality is if we do not reopen wholly and completely quickly, we won't need the chamber anymore because there won't be any businesses left. So this is a very important moment for all of us to come together and make a way for the economy to function, for people to be able to go to work, for our kids to go to school. So I come from a different perspective as a private individual with just basic life experience. And I think that that's what we need as a representative, is a new, fresh voice without corporate backing and the backing of the individuals. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Laura. We appreciate it. Now we're going to go to House District 25. Representative Cutter will start.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much to the West Metro Chamber for hosting this event. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to share my vision with your members. So I was born and raised in Colorado, and I am a small business owner turned legislator with the pleasure of representing the people of House District 25, unincorporated Jefferson County, mostly west of C-470. My business was in public relations, and I worked with a variety of nonprofits and businesses, both large and small. As a state representative, I've worked on legislation to invest in the things that matter to our future: a robust public education, tackling mental health challenges, affordable and accessible health care, small business support, and good stewardship of our land and resources. My primary interest is to improve the lives of the people in Colorado, and specifically my district. This requires me to listen carefully, consider multiple points of view, and collaborate with people who are willing to work with me to accomplish that goal, because that creates good policy. For example, I'm particularly proud of 2 bills that I authored and passed this with bipartisan support this past session. Through the Small Business Recovery Loan Program, we were able to leverage a public-private partnership to provide below-market interest rate loans to small businesses suffering because of the pandemic. And I know there's many of them. This was accomplished without drawing on the general fund. And the second bill was to incentivize development of recycling end markets. Among other things, this bill will establish a center to support the development and expansion of end market recycling business, because China no longer wants all of our trash. Huge surprise. This will be a boon to our environment, but it will also be an economic driver, positioning Colorado as a regional hub in this arena. And this is the type of legislation I intend to continue sponsoring: sensible policy that does the most good for the most people.
Thank you so much, Representative Cutter. We appreciate it. And that gives you an extra 6 seconds. No, I'm just kidding, Don. So next we have Don Rosier, who is former county commissioner for Jefferson County.
Oh, good morning. I would like to begin by thanking Pam and the entire West Metro Chamber team for hosting this forum today. Good morning, everyone. I am Donald Rosier, your Republican candidate for House District 25. I'm a 5th-generation Coloradan, born and raised in Arvada. I've been married to the same wonderful woman for the past 31 years. I'm a father of 3 grown children. I received my engineering degree from Colorado State University. I'm a registered professional civil engineer, and I specialize in water resources. I'm a small business owner, and I'm a former two-term Jefferson County Commissioner. The reason I ran for commissioner is the same reason I'm running for state representative. We must get back to a government structure that is right-sized, a government that works for the people it represents, listening to their needs, providing services where needed, being good stewards of the taxpayer dollar, all while fostering a great place to live, work, play, and learn. The divisiveness and extreme political agenda that we have all seen in the legislature is not healthy for any of us. We must restore balance to state government, bringing back statesmen and stateswomen who represent the needs of their district, who can bring together coalitions of stakeholders and overcome adversities. Representatives who can work across the aisle to get things done for the betterment of the community in which they live. You know, small businesses are the backbone of our economy and the cornerstone of recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. Last legislative session, there were numerous bills proposed that would have raised licensing fees, eliminated tax deduction, and increased the overall cost of goods and services for us all. Some of those bills passed and others did not. It's my job to get down there to make sure that to bring proven leadership we can trust to the legislature, and I ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Appreciate it. And last but not least, House District 28, and we have Mayor Paul from Lakewood, on behalf of Representative Kerry Tipper, and she just had a baby, so that is why the mayor is here, and he has talked to Representative Tipper, and these will be her responses. Mayor Paul?
Great. Good morning. I'd like to thank the Chamber for having me, and it's an honor to be here on behalf of Representative Tipper. A little bit of background on her. She's a lawyer who has worked in several practice areas, including civil rights, consumer protection, immigration, and healthcare regulatory issues. She has worked both in the public and private sector and was most recently an assistant attorney general under A.G. Kaufman before getting elected to the State House. She grew up in Lakewood and is proud to represent her hometown at the Capitol. Her mother is a Costa Rican immigrant, and Kerry's first language is Spanish. Her father was a combat veteran, small business owner, and Jeffco public school teacher. In many ways, she reflects the great diversity and spirit that we value most in Lakewood. She also, as you mentioned, is a brand new mom, which is why she can't be here with us today. She welcomed her first child, Evan, last week, and she said Evan says hello to the group today. Kerry sits on the Judiciary and Health and Insurance Committees. She focuses most of her efforts on criminal justice reform, consumer protection, and fair representation. As a brand new legislator, she succeeded in getting $6 million of funding for supporting an accurate census count in Colorado, which is super important to our community and to our business community. She hopes to continue this type of work on behalf of her constituents and is grateful for the opportunity to speak with all of you today.
Thank you so much, Mayor Paul. And then finally, we do have running for House District 28, Amara Hildebrand.
Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Amara Hildebrand, and I'm running for State House District 28 as the Libertarian candidate. I have a BS in civil engineering from Duke University, and for the last 5 years, I've been building a business with my husband. I'm also a proud mother of 2 school-aged children. While I've been involved with the Libertarian Party for almost 30 years, I've never publicly shared my views. So why now? It feels as though, to me, we're on the brink of a civil war. We're bombarded by media, much of it presenting opinions as facts, and people are more likely to engage in a Twitter war than an intelligent discussion. Our quality of life, our physical health, and our mental health are suffering as a result. We are propagating a world where our perception of reality is reality, and it's destroying the fabric of our democracy. I want to be part of that solution. Our government has also become so much larger than it was ever intended. With $26 trillion in debt and counting, our government is not fiscally responsible. It is not incentivized to be so. So I would fight to end government shutdowns and open our economy. I would push to teach American history in schools, as we are a nation built on liberty and justice for all people, as well as the duty to protect those rights. I would work to reduce healthcare costs by allowing market competition. And I believe in protecting our natural resources, working towards fossil fuel independence, and significantly reducing our dependence on China. I believe that our military power is vital for national security, but policing the world's wars is not. I believe in policies that help people help themselves, as our social programs often keep people in poverty in a place of need. And finally, I believe in liberty for all peaceful people. As an elected official with an engineering and business background, I would bring logic and diplomacy to solutions and work towards resolutions across party lines. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amara. Appreciate it. And now we are going to go into our Q&A session. And there are 2 questions for each district. You will have 1 minute to talk on each question. And for House District 22, we are going to start with Margot. And the first question is, it's a very easy question. Gallagher is a complicated issue that voters will have an opportunity to weigh in on through this year's ballot. What is your position on Gallagher and why? So Margot, we're going to start with you.
Great, sounds good. So I could go into the technical elements of what Gallagher is and how it works until everyone's eyes glaze over. But instead, I'm going to just get right to the heart of this, which is that Amendment B is straight up greed. They just want to be able to take more of your money. Gallagher is a gift. It is a gift to taxpayers that has kept home ownership affordable for the last 40 years, and it will keep home ownership affordable going into the future if we protect it. I want my kids to be able to buy homes when they grow up. I want my parents and in-laws to be able to keep the homes that they've spent their entire lives paying for. And they rightly expected that they would be able to continue affording those homes in retirement. So what you will wind up with if Gallagher is repealed is a situation where people are chased out of their homes by high taxes. And I wonder if people who are supporting this understand economics at all, because how can you have affordable housing if you can't pay taxes on your home?
Thank you so much, Margot. And now we'll have 1 minute, and Mary Parker, same question, please.
Okay, thank you. I support the repeal of Gallagher for several different reasons. The first of which is that we have way too many things in our state constitution. If you compare the US Constitution to our state constitution, it's ridiculous. We have the second longest state constitution in the United States. So we have to get it out of the amendment position, because it is too hard to adjust to changing times, and especially when we have a COVID virus right now, we are not able to correct things for the current environment. Secondly, I think using a formula is always a bad idea. Something that was good in 1982 is never going to be good going forward. And thirdly, having a one-size-fits-all approach to property taxes doesn't work in a state that has an urban Denver area and so many rural areas. They are not the same. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Mary. And then we're going to go to Representative Larson. Same question, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And yeah, so I am opposed to the straight up repeal of Gallagher. This is one of the things I was disappointed in the legislature. There's certainly room for an amendment to Gallagher. I think that the economic realities that were prevalent in 1982 have changed. The residential values in the state have dramatically risen as a ratio for commercial properties. And what all of us on this call know is that that has caused commercial ratepayers to bear a extraordinary burden. That being said, I think straight up repealing Gallagher removes the protections for people living on fixed incomes, senior citizens, of which I have a lot in my district, and I'm very protective of them. So I don't want to enter into a situation where people will be priced out of their home that they've lived in for 30 years simply because of property tax increases. We do need to do something to allow for flexibility in the commercial assessment rate so that the small businesses don't have to continue to pay rates that are 5 to 6 times higher than residential rate. But I'm against the straight up appeal that's on the ballot.
Thank you, Representative Larson. We're going to go to the second question, and this time in House District 22, I'm going to start with Mary Parker. COVID-19 has caused difficult economic and social implications across our state. What action would you recommend to support our small business community?
Well, first of all, I would say that we need to recognize that all business sectors are not the same. So they all need different things. For instance, a retail business might be able to continue on successfully with their online business, but another smaller mom and pop shop may not be able to make it through that way. Restaurants may be able to do takeout business, or they may have outside seating. Other restaurants, as we know, are actually going out of business. Theaters, both movie theaters and live theaters, need long-term planning. So I think we need to recognize that all small businesses need different things. And so my first action that I would do would be adding a specific reopening counseling service to the other counseling services that we have in our small businesses resources, both in the county and in the state.
Thank you so much, Mary. We're going to move to Representative Larson on this question.
Yes, absolutely. So there were 3 bills that were particularly bad that were passed last session that, frankly, I think are going to cause massive business failure. And I plan on introducing either tweaks or repeals to all 3 of them. These are SB 205, the paid sick leave bill that was passed, which adds about 23% to your payroll costs right off the top of the head. House Bill 207, which triples unemployment insurance rate premiums over the next 5 years, also passed. And then 1420, which I'm sure you are all aware of, which decoupled the state and federal tax filings. So get ready to write your accountant an extra large check next year because he will have to calculate 2 different tax liabilities. So repealing or tweaking all of those things, that was one of the most disappointing weeks of the legislative session, and just clearly illustrated that there was not an understanding of how small businesses work. You know, and that's what I'm going to be focused on based on COVID and what we're going to be seeing in January.
Thank you so much, Representative Larson. Now we have something fun to get to know your candidates a little more personally. And Margot, oh, I'm sorry. No, we're going to go to Margot first for that question. So sorry.
So when our nation was founded, the government was supposed to be so small that you didn't even care who was elected to office, because even if they were malicious or incompetent, they didn't have the power to ruin you. And obviously right now that's not the case. I appreciate Mary saying that each business needs its own solution, and that is absolutely right. People are amazing creative problem solvers when we get out of their way and just let them do it. So I think this is one of those situations where the government needs to back off and give people the freedom to solve the problems that their businesses are having. And if there's one thing that we know about government in business, it's that if they try to tell our businesses how to succeed, they will inevitably fail.
Thank you, Margot. And now we're going to go to the fire round, and we're going to start with Mary Parker. And Mary, if you can unmute, here are my questions, 3 words or less, please. First of all, how long have you lived in Colorado?
16 years.
Okay. What was your first job?
Lifeguard.
Awesome. And if you could have coffee with someone dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh my God. Abraham Lincoln.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So you guys all got a sneak peek at that one. Thank you for going first, Mary. We appreciate that. I'm going to go to Representative Larson. If you could have coffee with someone dead or alive, who would it be?
Well, I've been knocking a lot of doors, so time with my wife would be nice.
That's awesome. What was your first job?
I was a car server at Sonic.
Okay. And how long have you lived in Colorado?
28 years, and I'm 33, Great. So
okay.
A long time.
A long time. Margot, same questions. How long have you lived in Colorado?
Off and on since I was 3.
And what was your first job?
Front Gate Colorado Renaissance Festival.
Love it. And if you could have coffee with someone dead or alive, who would it be?
Thomas Sowell.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. You're doing great. We're staying on time. We so appreciate it. So now we are going to move to House District 23. And we are going to hear from both candidates on the first question, which is, for a few years, paid family leave has been a much debated topic at the state legislature. Now we are preparing to vote on a ballot question that puts a state-run program in place. What do you believe is the ideal solution to meet the needs of families and businesses? And we're going to go with Representative Kennedy to start.
Well, thank you for the question. This has indeed been a hotly debated topic at the Capitol for the last few years. I will say this, we do have a real problem with access to family leave in Colorado, and I am not okay with the fact that too many Colorado workers are forced to choose between paying their bills and taking care of a sick family member or taking the appropriate time off after they've given birth to a child. So this is a challenge that we indeed need to solve. I would also say that while many large businesses offer quality family leave programs, it's very difficult for smaller businesses to afford to provide family leave. And that's one of the things that I really appreciate about Proposition 118 as a solution to family leave, is it broadens the risk pool. When everyone is paying in, I know nobody loves paying payroll taxes or increasing their payroll taxes, but when everyone pitches into a program like this together and it broadens the risk pool, it means we could give better support to employees and help employers cover the workers who are out of the office in a more comprehensive way at less cost for everybody.
Thank you, Representative Kennedy. And Fred, if we can hear from you on the same issue.
Thank you. Yeah, I was given a different question ahead of time, but
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't have this question ahead of time, but I think a government mandated family leave is not the right solution. I think individually we all know what our own needs are and what we can afford. If the government says you can afford this and you can't, it's not realistic. So I am against a government mandate, and everybody's different. I can think of I have a couple of siblings that handled when they had young children differently. One of them stayed home. The mom stayed home for 2 years. The other one put their child in daycare after 1 week, and both families turned out fine. So I think every individual can make their own decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. And I'm going to go ahead and go with Representative Kennedy for the next question. How can we support the prioritization of infrastructure funding, roads, bridges, et cetera, in 2021 and beyond?
Well, let me say that transportation funding is a priority, but it is far from the only priority that we have in Colorado. In addition to chronically underfunding our transportation infrastructure, we've been doing a pretty awful job funding K-12 and higher education as well. And that's one of the things that's so tough about this conversation is there just aren't enough dollars in the general fund to go around and cover all of these things. And for those that suggest we should roll back, Medicaid expansion, remember that the state is only paying 10% of that and 90% of it is coming from the federal government. We need to be honest about the fact that we need new revenue in the state to pay for our transportation needs. The problem is that we haven't raised our gas tax, even for inflation, since 1992. And so if we're actually going to invest in catching up with our backlog on transportation projects, not to mention expanding and thinking about how we're going to provide transportation for the future, we need to talk about new revenue. And I've supported measures to do that in the past with Prop 1010 and Prop CC.
Thank you so much, Representative Kennedy. And Fred, could you also answer that question?
Sure. And once again, this is a new question for me, but I think the prioritizing is the key. We have many things that we pay for that may not be as big of a priority. I do not enthusiastically support new revenues. I think people are paying plenty of taxes and fees. I think we have to address the wholeness of the people, at least on equal ground as the wholeness of the government. So transportation is a key issue. It affects many aspects of our economy. So I think we just need to give a higher priority to it.
Thank you so much, Fred. I appreciate that. And now we're going to do our fire round. And so, Fred, we're going to go to you first. If you could have coffee with someone dead or alive, who would it be?
Boy, just to be fun, I'll say Doug Moe.
Okay. And not everybody probably knows who Doug Moe is, but I do. What was your first job?
Machine operator.
Nice. And how long have you lived in Colorado?
37 years.
Great. Thank you. Representative Kennedy, how long have you lived in Colorado?
Almost 41 years.
All right. And what was your first job?
Strangely enough, the same as Colin Larson's, which I didn't realize until this call. I was also a Sonic car hop in 1996.
I love it. And if you could have coffee with someone dead or alive, who would it be?
I'm going to go with John Lennon.
Okay, awesome. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for everybody staying on time too. It really makes everything go well so we can hear from everyone. So next we are going to go to House District 24. Okay, there we go. And the first question is, this year the state legislature had to navigate a $3 billion shortfall, budget shortfall, with expected challenges ahead in future years. What would you do to manage these challenges? And we're going to go with Representative Duran to start.
Oh, thank you for that question. I want to just add in quickly that I'm really proud of the work that my colleagues and all of us did. We made a lot of hard, tough decisions, but we did what we needed to do to make sure that we were taking care of the folks in Colorado. Our September forecast looked a little bit brighter than our June forecast. I know we have a couple of ballot initiatives or ballot questions. Prop 16, which cuts Colorado income tax, and then Amendment B, which repeals Gallagher. We're not sure of the outcome of those. I know that will have some play in the decision-making for our state budget. So I think there's a lot of variables here. And I think that after the election, we see what transpires. I'm ready to roll up my sleeves, get to work to figure out how we're going to move forward to make sure that we're taking care of our communities and the state of Colorado, and look forward actually to reaching back out, or any of you reaching back out to me to kind of see what our plan is moving forward for the state when it comes to our budget.
Thank you so much, Representative Duran. And next we'll hear on the same question from Laurel Imer. Oh, Laurel, can you unmute yourself, please? There you go.
Can you repeat the question, because this is not the question I was given either?
Oh, I am so sorry. I'm not sure why that happened. Laurel, oh, that could have been. So sorry about that. So this year, the state legislature had to navigate a $3 billion budget shortfall with expected challenges ahead in future years. What would you do to manage these challenges?
So the first thing that I would do is open the economy. That was actually the question I was given, and I think the answer is still the same. We cannot continue to operate in a pandemic COVID-19 China virus shutdown. We need to open our economy fully and completely. We need to give businesses the opportunity to choose for themselves how they want to open. They are smart. They can navigate the waters. We need to give individuals the opportunity to choose whether they want to stay in their homes or whether they want to go out and be free individuals living their lives every day. And we can do that by providing waivers for businesses that would allow people the opportunity to sign a waiver that says, I'm willing to participate in this business without repercussions if I were to get sick. And I think if we do not allow businesses to open, we're going to continue to have tax shortfalls. We're going to have less funding for our schools, for our roads and bridges, because our businesses pay the bulk of the tax that go to fund everything that we do in the government. So I think that answer is opening the economy.
Thank you. And I apologize for the mix-up on questions, Laurel. So question number 2, and we'll have Representative Duran go first so you can think about this. What can be done to drive opportunities for Colorado to thrive in the coming years? Representative Duran, if you can go first, that would be great.
Yes, thank you. Happy to. I think what we need to make sure of first and foremost is that we're not ignoring that COVID is out there. right? We need to take all the steps that we need to protect our small businesses so that they can stay open by following the protocols that have been put out there, mask wearing, social distancing. We can't afford another statewide closure, period. So we need to make sure that we're protecting everyone, protecting our small businesses so that they can thrive. I think also, you know, once we're doing that, we need to focus on new opportunities for our small businesses. We need to make sure that we have affordable health care, make sure that we're meeting the mental health services, helping with housing projects, utilities, wage protection. So all of these things are going to impact our communities and our families, but we need to make sure that we're taking COVID seriously. I think what has happened in the last few weeks says it all. We just need to make sure we're being responsible, protecting our citizens so that our businesses can stay open and they can thrive.
Thank you, Representative Duran. And Laurel, if we can have you answer the same question, please.
So I think that the opportunities to make Colorado thrive again begin with the policies that we make out of the legislature, treating Denver as the only community that exists in our state. Colorado got 64 counties, and we have people from representatives from all different walks of life in our communities, and we only focus on what's happening in Denver. And I think that's a shortfall for us. Oil and gas is a major entity of our state economy. And when we have legislatures who vote consistently to shut down oil and gas, then there are no future opportunities for people in our rural communities. And I think we need to focus on our state as a whole and not just break it down into what this populated county and this populated city demands, because our people deserve better and our 64 counties deserve representation. And once again, I'm going to go back to opening the economy fully and completely and allowing citizens the freedom to choose what is best for them. We are smart, we know how to take care of ourselves, and we need to be given the God-given right to do that every single day, to live our lives to the fullest.
Thank you, Laurel, so much. Now we're going to do our 3-word answers, and I'm going to start with Laurel, and we're going to ask, how long have you lived in Colorado?
All my life.
Okay, and what was your first job?
I was a worker at an auto parts store.
Awesome. And then if you could have coffee with someone dead or alive, who would that be?
The amazing actor, James Stewart.
Awesome. Thank you. And Representative Duran, if you could have coffee with someone dead or alive, who would that be?
This is going to be out of the norm, but Elvis Presley. I've been a fan since I was 7.
That's great. How long have you lived in Colorado?
36 years.
And what was your first job?
I worked at Dunkin' Donuts.
I love the first job question. I just think it's very interesting for everyone. So thank you very much, ladies.
You're welcome.
We are going to move to House District 25. And first question, we're going to start with Representative Cutter. The first question, and I hope you guys got the right questions. Businesses have continued to express their concern around increased liability as they navigate the health and safety guidance from public health. What assurances could be put in place to protect local businesses? Representative Cutter.
Thank you. Well, there is some consideration of liability immunity on the federal level. But here in Colorado, we need to find a bipartisan solution that gives those small businesses and taking responsible precautions to protect their employees and customers immunity, while still holding careless businesses accountable for their role in spreading the virus. So I get it, businesses need to be able to open their doors and get back to it. We all want this. And it's hard on our small business community. And I worked to help many of them during this pandemic. But there is a reasonable approach to this. Businesses that deliberately defy public health orders and put their employees and customers at risk absolutely should be held accountable. The CDC and the state have guidelines to navigate health and safety, written notices, safe distancing, requiring masks, offering hand sanitizer. I've been throughout the district, and many, many businesses are working hard to comply with these deadlines, or these guidelines, excuse me. And really this increases consumer confidence, so people will want to go do business with them, and we can all get back to normalcy as soon as possible. Without compliance, this pandemic can drag on for many, many more months, which I believe will do far more to damage our economy. And it looks like I still have a minute.
You don't, and I know Don's going to want extra minutes, but I was actually timing you on mine. So thank you so much, Representative Cutter.
Thank you,
and Don, if you could answer the same question, please.
And I will not be seeking extra time at all. Thank you. Great question. You know, I feel that there must be a clear regulatory guidelines from local and state agencies regarding safety protocols for all businesses. And businesses should have that confidence that they will not be adversely impacted, that they will not be held responsible if a health issue arises, and that they have followed all those protocols. We see this current patchwork of regulatory mandates that are coming down from the state and local agencies that change almost weekly. As a business owner, you cannot plan for your business to go forward if those regulations are changing every other day. They're changing every week. You know, this doesn't eliminate the possibility of civil litigation. However, business owners really need that certainty that they have not been provided in the past 6 months.
Thank you so much. And Don, we're going to start with you again on the second question. What do you believe is the biggest challenge that Colorado is facing, and how will you address this challenge?
I personally feel it's civil discourse. We've talked about it. We've heard about it this morning. You know, with clear, concise, professional discussion between all sides of an issue, we can overcome adversity. You know, the narrative that we have seen all too often lately has been this: if you don't believe the same way as me, then I have the right to personally attack you, destroy your property, slander you. You know, that list really goes on. You know, those issues and those actions only divide us. You know, I bet we probably all agree on 95% of the issues. However, we tend to concentrate on that 5% that separate us. We must engage in open, respectful dialogue with our community, our stakeholders, our businesses, and we must respect differences of opinion. We can all sit around the same table and respectfully work through issues. That is when we'll see true positive change.
Thank you so much, Don. Representative Cutter, same question.
Thank you. Well, so there are so many challenges, but helping the people, the economy, and the people in Colorado recover from this pandemic is foremost. And the lack of education funding is becoming, I think, a crisis, and one that I'm afraid will dramatically impact the future of our businesses and our economy. But to successfully address these critical issues, we must maintain the strength of the state legislature as a bipartisan representative body that actually gets things done. This is the challenge. The strength of the state really lies in the creative tension between liberal and conservative points of view that result in good legislation, unlike the US Congress, where we are largely successful here in Colorado in doing that. As my colleague mentioned earlier, Monica Duran, more than 98% of our bills last year had bipartisan support when they were voted out of the legislature, and 67% had bipartisan prime sponsorship. We don't want legislators that represent extreme views, either right or left, to stop the progress we've made and the progress we need to make work towards resolving the key issues of public health, the state budget, and public schools during a pandemic.
Thank you so much, Representative Cutter. We are going to start back with you on our fire round. So how long have you lived in Colorado?
My entire life.
All right. What was your first job?
Dairy Queen.
Oh, I love Dairy Queen. And if you could have coffee with someone dead or alive, who would it be?
Eleanor Roosevelt.
Nice. All right, Mr. Rosier, same questions. How long have you lived in Colorado? You already told us, but.
Well, my entire life, which is 53, almost 54 years, October 13th.
Oh, we'll remember that. Thank you. What was your first job?
I mowed lawns in the neighborhood.
Great. And if you could have coffee with someone dead or alive, who would it be?
My wonderful mother, who passed away 15 years ago, who was an avid coffee drinker.
I love that. Thank you, Don. Thank you very much. We are going to move to our last district, House District 28. And the first question is going to be a really big one. Homelessness continues to be on the minds of many. What will you do if elected to drive action to improve homelessness? We're going to start with Representative Tipper, and that's actually Lakewood Mayor Adam Paul.
Thank you. Yeah, this is certainly an issue that we're all faced with and we see day to day in our communities. So at the state level, I do believe, or Representative Tipper does believe, there is a role that can be had, and that's to support the local communities in their efforts and what they're trying to do. And that's resources, looking at vacant buildings or land sites for different opportunities, more affordable housing. So that's one part, but the second part is also looking at the root causes and how can the state better look for ways with mental health and those sorts of areas to provide programs that really give people a way for self-sufficiency and help them where they're at.
Awesome, thank you so much. And then same question for Amara.
Yeah, this is something that's really near and dear to my heart. I feel like we can really take a stab at this and get people off the streets. I'm reading a cross-cultural dialogue on homelessness, and I think we could borrow from a lot of different countries with policies that have been successful. I think the private charities have the best success rate, have proven to show that they have a success rate as far as homelessness goes. And yes, mental health, absolutely. We need to help people so they can help themselves.
Awesome, thank you so much. And our second question is going to be, if you are elected, what is the first piece of legislation you would run or support overwhelmingly? And Amara, I'll go to you first.
I'd go back to my my thoughts on American history and supporting schools that are teaching American history in school as a whole. I think some of the unrest we've seen are have to do with not understanding what this country was built upon, and the hope that we can all have, and working together to come up with solutions. The bipartisan support, as a couple other people had mentioned, is really crucial for us to use taxpayer money appropriately and just be efficient and transparent.
Great, thank you so much. And Mayor Paul?
Representative Tipper would hit the ground running with COVID relief legislation. As you know, everybody's facing tremendous budget cuts. And so she has a concern about the ability of employers to keep their doors open, families keep their housing, and putting food on the table. So that would be really important for her to look for solutions that are both upstream and downstream, and not just Band-Aids for the short term. So looking for real things that are going to be meaningful in the long term. And then certainly continue advocacy with local partners as well as the federal delegation to ensure that those dollars are coming in and that they can be pushed out immediately to those most in need.
Awesome, thank you so much. And we're going to start with Representative Tipper's answers that I'm assuming you have figured out. How long has she lived in Colorado?
25 years.
And what was her first job?
Breakfast bar at the Denver West Marriott, serving groupies who were at Red Rocks in the morning chasing the band stars.
That's a good one. And then if she could have coffee with anyone dead or alive, who would it be?
Nelson Mandela.
Awesome, thank you so much. And Amara, same questions. How long have you lived in Colorado?
19 years.
And what was your first job?
I was a food runner.
Awesome. And if you could have coffee with anyone dead or alive, who would it be?
U.S. House Representative Dan Crenshaw.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, you guys. So you have done so well keeping to your time. We appreciate all of that. And we are going to go to our closing remarks now. We're going to start back with House District 22 and go in order. You have 1 minute for your closing remarks. And we're going to start with Representative Colin Larson.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for having me. I love the work that the Chamber does. I always look forward to both your leadership day that Jim Everson's involved with, but also the West Chamber Day down at the Capitol. So please keep in touch and do interact with your legislators. I can tell you the small business voice is sorely missed down there. So we really do need business owners to talk to our representatives, let them know what's the reality on the ground, and give them a perspective on some of the bills that are being passed and how that impacts, employees, business owners, and the bottom line for all of us. So once again, my contact info is in the chat. It's colinforcolorado@gmail.com or colinforcolorado.com. Check me out, and I would appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Representative Larson. And now we'll hear from Mary Parker, 1 minute for closing remarks.
Okay, thank you again to West Metro for the opportunity to be here today. My campaign can best be described by using the acronym SAFE, S-A-F-E. Safe schools, churches, workplaces free of gun violence, roads, bridges that don't fall down, clean air to breathe, water to drink, food to eat. And 2, access to affordable health care, access to quality schools, to well-paying jobs, to the internet, and freedom to make decisions over your own body, to love who you want, to worship as you wish, and equal opportunity to achieve the American dream, equal justice under the law, and equal right to dignity and respect. So thank you again for the opportunity to be here. You can go to my website, parkerforcolorado.com, to get more information on my campaign. And everybody vote. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Mary. Appreciate that. And our final candidate, Margot Herzl.
Thank you. Thank you so much. When you elect a libertarian, you get a person, not a party. I know that my #1 job is your liberty, and I have absolute fidelity to that job. I cannot be swayed by partisanship or by special interest or by peer pressures, but will always use every tool at my disposal to make and keep this the land of the free. If you want to participate with my campaign, or if you have a question or comment, I would really love to hear from you. Please go to my website, margotherzl.com, and cast your vote in November or sooner.
Thank you so much, Margot. We appreciate that. Now we'll go to House District 23 and hear from Representative Kennedy for final remarks.
Well, thank you again, Pam, and everyone with the West Metro Chamber and the Jeffco Business Lobby for pulling together this event. One of maybe the only candidate forum I've been invited to participate in this year in a very strange time. Most of us have reasons for running for office that don't involve a crisis exactly like this. We have other problems we're really interested in solving. But the thing about serving in elected office is you don't always get to choose your moment. And there are times when things happen, like an unprecedented global pandemic with a very deep recession that falls on our plates, and we have to do the best we can to responsibly manage it. And that's exactly what we've been doing in Colorado. Contrary to some of the comments I've heard on this call, I believe we've actually done a really great job using the limited resources we have to help businesses and individuals get through in a tough time. And I believe that if we keep electing serious, hardworking problem solvers, we are going to continue to get through this crisis as quickly as possible and start getting back to a new normal where we can continue to work on expanding opportunities for everybody.
Thank you so much, Representative Kennedy. And then we would like to hear closing remarks from Fred Clifford.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thanks for having us. I think that free people are more prosperous. Free people are healthier. Free people are happier. Free people are better at solving problems. Free people are more innovative. And I don't think this is just my opinion. I think this is historically proven. I think people are much more better off, for instance, in the United States than they are in Venezuela. Now, that's an extreme example, but the basic issue is that free people are better off. And I think the main concern I hear from talking to people about what's going on the last couple of years is they're mainly concerned with too much government overreach. So let's get back to free people. Let's get back to civil liberties. Let's get back to economic freedom. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fred. I appreciate that. We're going to go to House District 24, and we will start with closing remarks for Representative Duran.
Thank you. Let me just thank you again for the opportunity to meet with you all today. You know, I have, one of my favorite quotes is from Eleanor Roosevelt. She said that good leaders inspire people to be confident with that leader, but great leaders inspire people to be confident within themselves. And for me, that speaks so much when it comes to being an elected official. It shows that you're willing to work across that aisle, willing to bring everybody together to get the work done that's needed for the folks in our state. I've proven that. Over the last 2 years, I've proven I can get that done. I've proven I can collaborate with my colleagues. My track record and my voting record proves that. I understand the challenges that are facing our Colorado workers and our families, and I've dedicated my service to making sure that those values are heard at the state capitol. It's been my privilege and my honor to serve. I never take anything for granted. I need all of you to help me get across that finish line. If you want to learn more about me or what I've done, you can go to Monica at monicaduran.com, or you can also call me. I love getting phone calls, 720-312-0583. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Representative Duran. And now we'll go to Laurel Imer, please.
Hi, again, thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing the participation of everybody on the panel, and thank you all for being here this morning. So I'm just simply all about freedom. I think I made it clear that I believe wholly in stopping the COVID chaos. It is time to open, open, open. I do not believe in the new normal. I don't support the new normal. I don't believe in socialism, nor do I support socialism as a direction for our state or our country. I want the destruction in our city stopped. No more destruction in the city and county of Denver. It's time for that to be done. It's time to stop the massive government overreach that we have had during this shutdown. Parental rights and education is the most important and civil rights issue of our time, I believe. And it's time that we take back the reins as a parent to be able to choose what is best and appropriate for our children. We need to go back to work. We need to go back to our churches. We need to go back to school. Let the people choose. People are intelligent. We can make decisions for ourselves. We deserve fair and equal treatment under the law for businesses in America without the intrusion of lobbyists and unions. So for such a time as this, vote Laurel Imer, and you can get more information at laurelimer.com.
Thank you so much, Laurel. And now we'll go to House District 25, and we will start with closing remarks by Representative Lisa Cutter.
Thank you. Thank you again for convening this panel. It's been great to chat with you all this morning. I think it is the responsibility of a legislator to look at the decisions we make today with an eye towards how they will impact the future. The issues I've championed during the last two sessions have been focused on building a better life and future for all hardworking Coloradans, addressing COVID, investing in wildfire and hazard mitigation, working on sustainability issues through the lens of economic development, broadening access to mental health treatment, and seeking ways to more effectively use the resources we have and better fund our schools are all things that work on multiple levels to create a stronger, more resilient Colorado. And that's why I'm running again to represent House District 25. I would love to hear from you. Please reach out. I popped my information in the chat box. I'd love to talk to you if you have questions or just want to discuss something further. Cutterforcolorado.com is my website, and cutterforcolorado@gmail.com is the best way to reach me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Representative Cutter. And we'll hear 1 minute from Don Rosier.
Well, thank you again for allowing me to take part in this forum this morning. I know many of you on this Zoom call today, and you know the hard work and dedication I put into my work as a Jefferson County Commissioner. I will bring that same dedication and work ethic to the state legislature. Rest assured, if I am fortunate enough to be elected, my focus will be on what is best for, what's best for our district and our community. Whether you vote for me or not, whether you are from the same political party or not, whether we agree on an issue or not, I will meet with you. I will talk with you, and I will work with you for the betterment of our great district, county, and state. I am Donald Rosier. I will bring proven leadership you can trust to the legislature and I want to earn your vote this November, please check out my website, donaldrosier.com. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. And finally, House District 28, and we will hear from Lakewood Mayor Adam Paul on behalf of Representative Tipper.
Well, again, thank you, Pam, and thank you to the Chamber and everyone who is here with us today. It's been an honor for me to represent Representative Tipper, and I know she's working hard for a better tomorrow. And again, couldn't be with us as she is just welcomed her little new girl home. So I know that she has a vested interest in the future of Colorado. And I want to just echo that showing up is a big part of this and being present. And I think that speaks to her style. And we have not agreed on all the legislation. And there's been times when we've had challenging conversations. But what I can say is that she's been willing to listen. She's been willing to work. She's been willing to reach out and make those tough phone calls, especially around law enforcement. And so for more information, I'd encourage you go to kerrytipper.com. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer that. But I'm excited to see her continue to shine. She's had 2 years in and has done so much. So let's give her 2 more. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mayor Paul. And then we'd like to hear the last person is going to be Amara.
Thank you, Pam, for having us today. So I want to close with a thought for everyone. My son recently brought home an assignment entitled, "What Makes Me Remarkable?" And it impressed upon me that we should all ask ourselves the same. Perhaps you're a first responder, a teacher, a single parent, or taking care of a sick loved one. Maybe you can't answer that question with conviction, but it will take all of us working to better our society and to be part of the positive change we envision. So I believe that most of us want to demonstrate how our lives matter. We live in arguably the freest country in the world, full of opportunity and promise. We need to work across party lines to solve problems. Let us be remarkable. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I don't have a website, but I posted my email and I'd be happy to continue a conversation. Thanks, Pam.
Thank you so much. I just want to say a big thank you to everyone, especially with everybody keeping their time because we had so many people and very excited about that. This will be on our website, and I know some people are having trouble looking at the chat. We'll make sure that the chat with all the contact information for our candidates is on there. So just check back on our website later on today. We'll make sure we get that posted. I do want to say a big shout out to Madison MacDonald again, our marketing guru and programs manager, for putting all this together. We are so thrilled that everyone came out to talk to us and give us a little glimpse of who you are and what you're doing. Running for office is no small task, and congratulations to all of you on your decision to make a difference in our community. Get out there, vote. One other thing I would say is please do look on our website for funding opportunities, or if you know people with small businesses. I neglected to say that Jefferson County will be opening up their grant system again, and this will be based on small businesses. So please, home-based businesses, please take a look at that. And don't forget that the GAP Colorado Enterprise Fund will have 2 more rounds. The first round is just opened, and the second round will be in a couple of weeks. So if you have any questions, please contact us. And again, thank you everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Have a great